Sandifer is a local musician known for his drum set, bass, percussion, and vocal skills. I talk one-on-one with Steven about what he's working on right now for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Steven Sandifer, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thanks, Quintin. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, I appreciate it greatly. Needless to say, we know you as a tremendous local musician here in the Low Country. You're well known for your drum set, bass, and percussion, obviously, and vocals. And of course, for many, many years, you toured with the Biscuit Boys. So tell me, what's new, what's now with Steven Sandifer music?
Oh, well, I got my hands in all sorts of things. I've kind of seemed to have reinvented myself multiple times over the years to kind of keep working in this industry and just to keep learning and exploring. I think that's one thing that's a lot of us musicians strive to keep learning something new and try to keep bettering yourself as a player. And so I play a lot of freelance gigs around town and the region, drums and bass and percussion. And I tour with a band called Danger Muffin that I've been in for about 15 years now. Play with a tribute band called Bears Gone Fishing, and then work with a number of our other artists in everything from Afro-Cuban styles to bluegrass to rock and roll and covers and original music. And now I'm kind of been studying recording arts and have a little studio on James Island and starting to write my own music. And got this great duo with Brad Edberson that we just put out an album recently doing more of a folk thing. So just kind of all over the place, which is a blessing and a curse sometimes.
Well, let me ask you this. With all your experience in obviously music, what got you to folk right now?
Well, I was in college studying jazz drum set, and I met now very good friends, Charlie McCarter, who worked at a music store called Millennium Music that sold, CDs, recorded music. And I would go in there to listen to music all the time because back then they would let you listen to the CDs before you buy them. And we got to talking, and he said, gave me a CD of some songs he had written, and kind of started steering me towards the singer-songwriter and bluegrass and folk world. And I just never had really been exposed to it. I started listening to jazz at an early age, and so then I started listening to more and more of it and just discovered how much I love the art of the song. And then I love the art of folk music and just how pure it is, kind of like jazz. It is, just being able to take a guitar to a fire and sit around and play music with other acoustic musicians. And it's not as easy to do with jazz because you can't wheel a piano out to the fire or a drum set. So just that kind of very genuine and organic nature of the music, and then that whole story of the song kind of thing just got me went deep into folk music for a while.
Wow. With all of your years of experience in music, Steven, what is the biggest difference about music today?
Oh man, the industry sure has changed because it's been now, I've been working professionally as a musician for about 30 years now, which it's kind of snuck up on me here. But, the first tour I ever did, we actually mailed postcards with a stamp on them out to people to tell them where we were going to be. And now, to be a professional musician, you have to be a social media person. You have to, know how to edit video and audio, and you have to just constantly create content. And back many years ago, it was more of an album cycle thing where you'd present an album and then you'd have a couple years to get some new material together. And it wasn't like this daily sort of feeding music and content of your daily life and all these things. And so that's a huge difference. One of the positives is that independent artists have a little bit more of a chance these days. Because back many years ago, if you didn't get in with a big company, a big record label, it would be really tough to kind of break the seal into the upper echelons of music. And now the blessing is that anybody can record a CD at their house now with pretty good quality and release music and get it on Spotify, get it all over the world. The problem is that you have so much to compete with. But if you can find a way to find your audience, you have more of a chance these days, I think, as an independent artist to find a support system and find an audience that enjoys your music. So that's definitely a bonus. Charleston has blown up. When I was coming up, I learned a lot by playing gigs. I didn't start playing drums until I was leaving high school. And in college, I was getting so many gigs, and I was certainly not that qualified, but I would show up, I'd work hard, I'd record it, I'd go home and I'd work on it. And now there are just so many tremendous musicians in Charleston, which is a great thing. It's just a different landscape. There just weren't that many players, and now there's recording studios. There's like probably a dozen touring bands out of Charleston. It's just a great scene now. Always has been, but now it's just bigger.
It really is much bigger. You're right about that. Who is your audience and who is your support system?
Well, I've played so many different things that there are different sort of audiences for different things that I do. But, traditionally I've played a lot of what I'd say roots music. So bluegrass, folk music, jazz, even Afro-Cuban, Latin jazz kind of stuff. So a lot of what I would call sort of roots music supporters. People that go to clubs, people that support live music. Not everybody. There's a lot of music lovers that just don't go to shows, and that's always been a challenge. Is like, how do you translate, people who listen to your music online? How do you get them to actually come to a show? So, I would say roots music supporters, people that like organic sort of music, is definitely the people that I've found to support what I do over the years.
What resources can musicians use to get those people from online to the actual shows?
Ooh, I wish I knew all the answers to that one. Social media obviously is a great one. Getting a sort of your own list serve, getting ways to actively be able to reach out to people that kind of harvest ways to reach out and keep contact with them. Spotify makes it a little bit easier these days. Bands in town. There's a number of resources where you can kind of connect on a more regular basis with your listeners, because part of it's just letting them know you're going to be there. And like I said, years and years ago, we would send a postcard, which was very expensive to send all these out to try to let people know. So it's, basically just trying to figure out how to keep in contact. And then part of it these days is keeping something fresh coming out. Like, how do you keep someone interested and engaged? Which is tough. It takes a lot of time and energy to do that.
Oh, absolutely. You're right about that. You talk about Spotify consistently during this particular interview. So what's on your playlist right now? I always listen to 90s R&B.
Wow, yeah, that's good. That's a great place to start right there. My playlist is all over the place. It's a mix between things I have to work on for gigs that I have coming up. So that kind of tweaks my algorithm if I have like a certain type of music or band that I have to study a lot. I love world music. I listen to a lot of Latin jazz and Afro-Cuban music. I listen to folkloric music from Africa and the Caribbean, and I listen to straight ahead jazz, and I love Doc Watson and the Delmore Brothers, and I'm really just all over the place. A lot of times I will just pick a radio station for a band that I love and just let the algorithm do its work, and I do a thing with my phone when I meet someone and they're like, hey, you should check this band out. Then I write it down so that when I'm driving, a long drive, or I have some free time, because I'm not sitting there, oh, what should I check out? I don't know. What should I listen to? I'll pull up that note on my phone and I'm like, oh, that band someone told me. Because I find that's the kind of the way a lot of us discover new music, is someone's like, oh, did you hear that band that played the other night, or you got to check out the song or whatever. So to try to not forget to, I just put it down on my notes.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I love that concept. What new music today, Stephen, do you want to incorporate to your music next?
Ooh. I am really starting to get into songwriting. So one of my favorite bands out there for songwriting these days is called the Wood Brothers. And they are some of the best American songwriting going on right now, I think, as far as like folk, kind of rock, folk, indie music's going. Not that, there's so many great ones, but they're just one of my favorite. They touch me. So I definitely have been listening to them a lot, and just trying to check out more and more story, right? Like people that write good, not just good hooks, that is kind of more popular in the pop music, but just the whole story of a song and how it can affect someone. Because that's like such a profound thing as a musician. I think it's one thing to have a song that's catchy and fun, but it's another thing when you meet someone and they tell you, oh, my music has affected me in some way. And it's like, wow, all those days on the road, and there's a lot of really great times being a musician, but it's pretty tough at times too. So it makes all the tough times worth it when you hear someone like, oh man, your music, did this for me or affected me this way, or I just enjoy listening to it, then that really helps keep the flame burning. So really just anything that kind of inspires the songwriter in me is what I'm kind of starting to concentrate on now.
And so, who is Steven the songwriter versus the singer?
Well, I've been an instrumentalist for most of my life, a rhythm section guy mostly, and so now I'm starting to learn some acoustic guitar, and I've been a harmony singer for so many years, and so now I'm stepping out as a lead singer and trying to learn the art of that, which is a totally different beast than a harmony singer. So, it's coming to being more of a front person in a band is a total divergence from most of my career, being in the back line in the back of the stage often, and you know supporting everyone else through the rhythm section, and taking an occasional solo, to being someone who is now presenting their own music, and so I think that's a big leap forward for me. It's a leap of faith, trying to become more and more comfortable with the fact that you're almost always going to be bad at something before you're good at it, unless you just have a god-given talent that is a miracle. You're going to be bad at it first, right? So just trying to get through those learning curves and trying to be brave enough to step out and do it. And the good thing about a community like Charleston, people are so welcoming. It's art. I
Yes.
always say, when you go to an art gallery, like, who painted the prettiest picture? It's not really about that. It's about how it affects you. And not everything's for everybody, and some people will enjoy it, some people won't, and that's okay. So I know, I play with a lot of people who let me sing songs on the gigs that we're doing, and just help me find a voice, and I'm really appreciative of those folks. And people are just so supportive. It's okay to make mistakes, and the older I get, the more brave I am, the less where I'm worried about being perfect. We're all imperfect beings, so just trying to get out there and create art.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Which one of your songs describes you?
Well, I haven't actually released anything that's 100% mine yet, but the band, Danger Muffin, that I work with, we co-wrote all of our music together. There's a song called Slumber, that's under Danger Muffin. Can be found on all the streaming platforms. That it's an amalgamation of a Cuban drum set groove, along with sort of a Brazilian groove thrown in. With my experience with these things, I didn't grow up in these places, but I love this music. So kind of taking an American-born musician's sort of adaptation of these musics that I love, and kind of melding them with this lyric. The song's called Slumber, so the lyrics Dan came up with are kind of about being in a dream state, kind of dreaming within a dream. And so it's like, just, I love to put, as a rhythm section player, taking that role, I love to find parts that complement the storyline and the lyric. So I think, that song in particular, of just how the drums came together and the harmony singing and the storyline, it's just a special, special tune for me, I think.
Oh man, that is really, really amazing. Well, I thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy,
Thank
so
you.
thank you for your time, Stephen, right here on Quintin's Close-Ups.
Appreciate it, Quinn. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome.